Okay, Saoirse Ronan has said she's excited to be nominated and lose again for this movie that we're going to be talking about. So,
I mean, she needs to win eventually. I'm not sure if this is the role, but
she
she
said
needs
she's
to
looking
win.
forward to losing another Oscar nomination from this role.
She's still young.
Yeah, this is her pretty much headlining. This is 90% of her in the movie.
Yeah.
And it's Outrun. It's available out now. So, of course, let's talk about it.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm running to hang out with you, Kyle Goethe.
I'm Nick from the St. Paul Filmcast. Thanks for finding us. Thanks for watching. And for our loyal fans, thank you for continuing to support the show. Another way you can support the show, you know what it is. It's a Patreon.
Do that.
We have a Patreon, so check that out for some great deals, great content, and great opportunities to tell us what movies we can review for future episodes. Of course, a shout out to you as well. Kyle and I are members of the Minnesota Film Critics Alliance. Check out that webpage for critics reviews as well as ours. And today we're talking about Outrun. Saoirse Ronan is running for the Oscar.
Yeah. So after many years in London under the spell of alcohol, Rona returns home to the Orkney Islands in an attempt to put some semblance of life together, if only she can avoid relapsing.
Okay, this movie kind of feels like it's based on a book. I don't know if it's original screenplay or not, but it kind of just feels like it's based on a book.
I think it is based on like a true story, but I think it's more of a fictionalized take on that.
Okay, and we've reviewed in the past movies centralized on the protagonist being an alcoholic. Mm-hmm. We did Steve Buscemi's movie Trees Lounge, and we did an Alfred Hitchcock movie where the protagonist was an alcoholic and stuff. Very hard to craft alcoholism because you want to see the fun of it, but also the consequences of it. Mm-hmm. I think this movie demonstrates the consequences of alcoholism, but they do one thing that's really good about people that delve into alcoholism is you bend to me. I have a problem, but you have to accommodate me because of my alcoholism. And I think she does a wonderful portrayal of this character where, this is how I am. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't you love me for me?
Can't you just, this is who I am. I'm going to party. I'm going to make an ass of myself. This is who I am. Deal with it. Rather than she deal with it with herself. Everybody else around me deal with it. So one of the things that doesn't really get portrayed with characters with alcoholism.
Yeah, it seems like she's going through a grieving process in the film for her alcoholism. Like because there is a lot of like deferring. There is a lot of I can change. I'll make promises that I can't keep up with. Like she's going through those stages of grief almost.
Yeah.
With her alcoholism. I think that's a great element that's at play.
It's a grief that I think a lot of people recognize. You're always going to be an alcoholic.
Yeah. I think that's something people don't get unless they've struggled with a drug.
Yeah. There's a great scene in there. Yeah,
that you never really get to get away from it.
Sorry to interrupt you, but there's a great scene in this of her just taking her finger in a glass of wine and then almost throwing up, knowing she broke her cardinal rule.
Yeah,
of drinking.
Yeah, I think the film manages to showcase a lot of elements of alcoholism better than a lot of other films that have tried to.
Yes.
I like how it showcases, you said it showcases the fun of it, but also the consequence. Yeah. My personal favorite element of this film is actually how it smash cuts from them partying to like months later when she's arguing with her boyfriend and he's like, you've changed. And she goes, what do you mean? We've been doing this, like, we've been going out together. And she doesn't realize that she's been doing this on her own for months because time has kind of just moved away from her.
Yeah, and we have a great intro of her going to a bar by herself and just stealing drinks off people that abandoned.
Yeah.
And thrown out. And it's almost like, Ted Danson's character in Cheers. When did the party stop? Nobody told me.
Yeah.
And it's kind of her character. When did the party stop? Everybody used to do all this. I participated in all this.
Yeah, and then her friends are the ones who walked away from her.
Yeah. And once the party stops, you have to do self-inventory. And it's a great kind of what you always wanted to do, right? It's a great character study. I do like this film. There's kind of little misses where there's a little bit of dragginess to it. But I understand it's 90% this character.
Well, I think the biggest problem with this movie, and it's an unfortunate thing, but I don't know that it adds enough different than many other films about alcoholism. I think it does it better, but is there enough uniqueness to the story that makes it stand apart? Because it kind of feels like that string of like music biopics that you see every couple years, where it's like, yeah, this musician, they come up with a song that's really popular, they get into drugs, they start cheating on their spouse, and then they have to go to relapse, and they come back with another song that's even better at the end of the film. This kind of feels like it's running through those similar motions. We've just seen it before. Now, I like the idea this is the first film actually shot at the Orkney Islands. Yeah. So it's something we've never seen. The
landscape, right, where the setting of this, very fitting.
And she uses the ocean and the water, and she uses the mythical creatures and the legends to kind of help, like, discuss what she's going through. I think that's unique. I think it's well done. But I don't know if there's enough of that in the film that really makes it stand apart from your traditional drug use tale.
And I just want to leap off your criticism because I think there's one too many themes going on with this movie. I think we're trying to mix her that she wants to be part of nature, and she's fumbling. She's trying to do self-inventory. She's trying to be family. And all this, then you're trying to present why this alcoholism is coming about. I think you need to knock down 3 characters. And then the title, Outrun. She's trying to outrun her own identity.
Yeah.
And you're going to lose pace. You can't outrun yourself. I think that's the whole point of the title. And I would think you're just dealing with too many themes. And this whole watery aspect of the color, everything is kind of blue, and the weather and everything. But the weather in your story. But it's just, I think there's too many themes going on. And I think if you just shave it back, you got a wonderful...
I totally get what you're saying. I understand, and I actually kind of agree with it in a sense. The only reason why it doesn't bother me as much is because I was looking for those other things, like to kind of like showcase why this story, is here. Why what is it that's different? But you're right. There's a lot happening.
Yeah, and it's a character who rather deal with fantasy. Hey, don't you ever believe that you could manipulate the weather, rather than dealing with the reality of no, you really can't. And in the ending, kind of like, did she really recognize her problems, or are we just a slice of motion? She might go back to being an alcoholic. Chances are she probably will.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it handles certain elements, the ones we discussed. I think it handles relapse really well. Because most movies about like recovering alcoholics, they never really relapse in those films. It's either that they are alcoholics until 10 minutes before the end of the film, when they finally realize, like, I need to
And then they get a big hug from the family because he did such a good job.
And then cut to the credits. Or it's they get clean at the beginning, and it's so hard not to relapse, but they don't ever relapse. This is one of those rare films that does that. So again, it's kind of like, it's doing things that we've seen before. I think it's doing them better than we've seen them in a lot of other films. But is it different enough?
Yeah, and I talk about with criticism of movies. Is it forgettable or memorable? And I don't think there's enough content for me to make it as memorable movie. And I'll probably go back 3 years from now and go, did I really see that movie?
Yeah.
I think I did, yeah.
I think Saoirse Ronan does a great job in the film. I don't think this is a career best performance for her.
No.
So if she was going to win the Oscar, I would certainly hope it would be for a film like a Lady Bird or a Brooklyn. But I do like her in this film quite a bit.
Yeah.
The other person who I think stands out but probably won't be in the discussion is Stephen Delane, who I didn't realize was Stephen Delane in the film. He plays the dad, Andrew. But most of you guys will know him from Game of Thrones. He was Stannis Baratheon.
Wonderful supporting role.
Yeah, what I appreciated about his role, and what I wish we'd gotten more of it, is I wanted to see how Rona relates to her father, in the sense that he is struggling with his own mental health issues.
Yes.
Related to her drug addiction. Yeah. And I think if we'd spent more time on that central relationship, I think that would have elevated both those characters even more.
She picked up the bad behaviors, and then mom left, and she's mad at mom for leaving him, and then he's blaming everybody. And she understands. Yeah. So it's a great big mixture of a problem. There's no cohesiveness to it because family dynamics are a mess. It's a hot mess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would like to see a little more investment into that rather than her self-isolation.
Yeah, because I think every time Stephen Delane is on screen with her, there's something magical happening. And I would also say the actor who plays Danon, I'm going to probably butcher his name, but it's Papa Esidu, who was in the movie Men. He plays Danon as well, and their kind of central connection in the film was, I think, captivating, but it serves its purpose at the beginning of the film. So when he's gone from the film, we don't get as much of him, and I think that central relationship suffers. So when we end that relationship, we should start the one with the father again, and I think that would carry over.
Yeah, and just didn't stick the landing for me. Another movie from 2024.
Fix your endings.
Gotta fix your endings. I understand what you want to go with this, but I would like to go out in the ocean. Maybe just pretend she's a mermaid or something like that.
If they'd come back to that ocean motif, that watery motif, I think, near the end, and kind of circled back around. Cause
almost like a baptism of my new clean and sobriety or something like that. Yeah.
I'm going to buy you a foam finger that says fix your ending.
That's my next tattoo. Fix your ending. Right. Yeah. So, what do you think of our assessment? Outrun?
Yeah, let us know your thoughts down in the comment section below. We both liked the movie. We're both just kind of certain elements that didn't.
I'm a thumbs up on it. Not really a high. I'm just it's a solid production. It's hard to talk about alcoholism.
Yeah, and to movies. Do it in any way that stands on its own, and this one occasionally does.
Yeah.
But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Maybe you absolutely adored it. Maybe you absolutely hated it. We're here to have that conversation with you. Just keep it respectful down in the comment section. We've had a few people that have been disagreeing with each other. No, you don't need to be doing that.
Really?
We're here to love movies. So, and you can find all of my film reviews over at goatfilmreviews.com. And when this episode drops, actually look over on Instagram because I got some stuff from the Twin Cities Film Fest that's going on. So check it out.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.